Hi, youth group families. This is PJ, Pastor Jonathan. So this Corona thing is pretty crazy. Some workplaces are closed and some people are working from home. Schools are canceled. Sports are canceled. And in 1 week, it seems like what we know as normal has changed. And that can be scary. But it doesn't have to be. In some ways, our entire youth group has been leading up to this moment. And how can we take a situation that we don't understand, that changes our perception of normal, that affects us even in our home, and stand against and overcome the fear of this situation? And you guys know the answer to this. The angel shows up to Mary and announces that God wants her to be the mother of Jesus. And what does the angel tell her? Do not be afraid. And the angel shows up to Joseph with that same message. And what does he say? Do not be afraid. And then the angel shows up to the shepherds to announce the birth of Jesus. And what does he say? Do not be afraid. Right? So if you're sitting there just listening to me say it, that's not going to be good enough. I want you to say it. I want you to say it like you mean it. And I want you to say it like you believe it. Okay? So get ready. 1, 2, 3. Do not be afraid. There we go. So part of not being afraid is understanding what it is that's bringing us fear. And in our case, we have a virus infecting a bunch of people and making them sick. But honestly, I don't think it's this virus that's bringing us fear, but it is part of it. I think that the fear is coming from change and uncertainty. And like I said earlier, so much has been changing this past week. So I'm going to take a minute and try to normalize that change. We've been told to do social isolation. Why? It's because coronavirus can make people sick, and for some people, it can make them very sick. But staying home doesn't mean we won't get sick. Many of us are still going to go to work. We're still going to go shopping. We're still going to go to Chick-fil-A. Right? I mean, come on. Nuggets, milkshakes. And some of us are going to go to the movies. When we do these normal everyday things, we run the risk of getting sick. But for most of us, if we get sick, it's not going to be that big of a deal. We've all had colds, we've all had the flu, and our bodies are going to fight the virus just like it did those. So why stay home when all these things, and why are all these things getting canceled? It's because for some people that they're going to get very sick. They may need to go to the hospital in order to get better. And there's only so many rooms in the hospitals. There's only so much space there. So if we don't slow down our lives, then everyone is going to get sick at the same time. And that means there won't be enough hospital beds for those people who are going to need them. Luckily, if we just slow down a little bit, do this social isolation thing, then those who get sick will be spread across a lot more time. And there should be enough room for everybody who needs those hospital beds and that extra care available to them. So that's the why on the virus. Now, on to you specifically. You guys live in the most connected generation ever. FaceTime, house party, DMs. Social isolation means that we can't be together, but we can still hang out with each other. I guarantee that if you put some thought into it, you can find a way to play a board game with a webcam and some camera phones and have a great time, right? You'll be able to figure it out. I guarantee it. Help your parents find ways to connect with their friends too. If your grandparents have a smartphone, video chat them. There's no reason why the people that are normally in your life can't still be there. But yours is a generation that knows how to bridge this gap. Your generation now gets to stand up and help lead. You can make a difference. So don't be afraid to stand up and help lead right now. Right? I'm going to wrap things up with one last story about fear. In 2 Kings, there's a story about a prophet, Elisha. And Elisha is being hunted by the king of Arameah. And the king learns that Elisha is staying in this little town. And he sends his army to surround the little town to grab Elisha, right? And so one morning, Elisha and his servant wake up, and the servant walks outside, and he sees this whole big army chariots and soldiers and all the scary things surrounding the town. And there's no way that anyone in this town is going to escape. And so the servant runs back to Elisha, and he's scared, and he's saying, what are we going to do? But Elisha isn't scared. He tells his servant, do not be afraid. For those that are with us are greater than those that are against us. And then he prays for his servant to be able to see what Elisha sees, right? And so then the servant looks outside, and he sees in between him and Elisha and the army that came to get them is a whole nother army from God, right? It's a heavenly army, and it's there for protection of them. In our lives, we are often not in control of things. We often do not understand everything we are experiencing. Even when we have control, we may not understand it. When we are in these situations, there is a spot in our lives that gets filled with fear. Maybe a little bit, maybe a lot. But these situations allow fear to get poured in, like water into a glass. But now comes your choice, because the other thing that can fill up that part of you is faith. Faith and fear cannot coexist together. One will replace the other. So trust in God. Trust in your parents. Trust that no matter what happens, God will be glorified in it. And now find a way to be the hands and feet of God, right? Check on your neighbors. Take a walk and wave to them. Buy groceries for those that can't go out. Teach people how to video chat so they don't feel alone. Be a friend, be an example, and be the best version of you that you can be. And as a youth group, what do we say?
Don't be afraid!
Don't be afraid. Take care, guys.